Hello again, viewers. Welcome back, and if you're new here, welcome to our channel. Here we do automotive repair, and today we've got a 2008 Hemi Dodge Ram that has some electrical problems. This guy tells me when he turns on his left turn signal, his right hand lights blink. Better go have a look. Well, looks like they're working on a dash. Let's go have a look out here. Well, left signal seems to be working fine. But just like he says, this right indicator is also blinking. Looks dimmer though, looks like the marker light to me. I think we got the same thing going on in the back. We got a good left turn signal over here, nice and bright. Over here on the right side, it's definitely dimmer, but not super dim. Like I say, it looks like the marker light is flashing. Here's what it looks like. Two elements on a bulb. You can see that outer one is the one that's flashing. And over here on the left side, it's actually the inner element that's flashing. Okay, so you may wonder why, or why not, that's important to know, or why I even pay attention to that, is because when this one's over here blinking on the left side and I see that right one blinking and it looks like the marker light, I would assume, now this is just an assumption, it's the only thing that makes sense, if it was a ground problem, because people are probably home screaming at their computer like, you got a bad ground, fix your ground. Well, I don't think so. I do believe if it was a ground problem, it would light up both elements because current would be flowing through, through the ground, because both those elements only have one ground. It'd be flowing through the ground, lighting up both elements. So I don't think we have a ground problem. I think it's time to stop right where we're at. I see what's going on. I see the complaint. He also says if he turns on his marker lights, it quits doing this. So I'm going to kind of keep that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and poke on some wire diagrams. I'm going to see what I find. These Chryslers use what they call a totally integrated power module. It's basically your underhood fuse box on a Dodge. They used to be controlled by a front control module and a power distribution center, and it's kind of like their body module. So I want to look at some wire diagrams. I want to kind of come up with a plan. Then we'll do a little bit of testing and see if we can figure out what's going on here. Okay, I'll try to explain this the best I'm able to. I've mentioned before, I'm not much of a teacher, and I have a hard time getting stuff from my head to my mouth and have it explain it in a way that we can all understand it. This just comes from years of working by myself. Never had to report to anybody. So I printed out a big long wire diagram, and I won't bore you with all the details of everything and how this all works, but I had a couple concerns. First of all, I highly doubt it's a ground simply because it's not lighting up both elements. The other concern is why is it only lighting up the right front and the right rear marker light, not the marker light on the left side and not the license plate lights? Well, the wire diagram answered that for me. The left side marker lights and license plate lights all run off a separate circuit. The right side marker lights run off their own circuit. And then they go into the body module, or in this case the tip of the integrated power module. I don't have a wiring schematic for inside the module. All they show us is, well, a big empty box. It would be helpful if we could see the actual, circuit routing inside that box. However, I have come up with a couple theories how it can backfeed, and one of those is either in the totally integrated power module itself, it could be shorted, which is plausible, which we can test for, and the other one is through the looking at here on a diagram, there's a separate circuit for the trailer marker lights, like your 7-pin connector in the back or the 4-pin connector, whatever you have back there. That also becomes active. By active, I mean hot, or has battery voltage when you turn the turn and signal on, because we've got essentially a couple connectors back there that have a flashing signal to them. So can that backfeed through the marker light circuit? And if it does, why, or if it was or is or can, how come it's not turning on all the marker lights? So, that's an option. Without knowing how this integrated power module is wired internally, it's still a viable option, because nothing tells me that that's not just wired up to the right-hand side marker lights, because that might make sense to me. So the left side, for whatever reason, has, you know, protocol to run the license plate lights and some other accessories, and the right side is just the right light and a right front, right rear light. Anyhow, I say we go to the fuse box, we see what's going on there, we do some testing there. I've noted the fuse numbers here for the trailer left turn output and the right turn driver light, and you know, some other fuses that we're going to take a poke at and see what's going on, see if we can figure something out, and then continue on our diagnosis. I just got thinking before we go over to the fuse box, just a little bit on fuses. I know it's a really simple device. It's just circuit protection. Overload it, pops. But there's two legs on the fuse, and we're going to go over there with our test light. And how we can decide, I think I ought to use my words here, how we can decide if it's backfeeding from the circuit to the fuse box, or from the fuse box to the circuit. When you turn your lights on, or whatever your accessory is, one side of the fuse is going to become hot, you know, if you have the fuse removed. So one leg of it's going to become hot, and that's going to be the side from your switch, or, you know, from your computer control, or whatever's turning that circuit on. And then it goes through the fuse and out of the fuse to the actual device, you know, the fan, the clutch, AC clutch, the divider, you know, the lights in this case. So that's how we're going to be able to determine, I suspect, that's how we're going to be able to determine where it's coming from. Is this backfeeding from the circuit, from the lights, back into the totally integrated power module, or is it a problem in the power module feeding the lights? Theoretically, it sounds simple, it should work, but I just want to let you know, and I go over and do some poking, and I don't know what the camera stuff is going to be like under the hood, so let's go see. So I've got, over here on the truck, I've got the turn signal on. We're going to just use a standard test light. Won't hurt anything here. Okay, our test light works. First fuse I want to look at is we're going to see, like I was explaining with that fuse, what I want to determine is, you know, whatever this is you can see the fuse, you know, like I say, it has two slots, one of them going to the lights, other one being, you know, signaled on from the truck. So let's see what we have. So the parking light, the right hand side parking light fuse is number 16. So that's number 16. That is this one right here. Okay, so we can see that it's blinking. It's blinking just like the lights, and obviously it's going to blink on both sides because the fuse is good. So let's see if we can't pull that up out of there. Okay, so we've got that out. So let's see which side of this is blinking. Okay, so it's the top side. So now we have to determine which one of these, you know, is it the top side or is it the bottom side that is, you know, the signal from the computer. So being that this is the marker light fuse, let's turn the marker lights on and see if the one that's blinking becomes solid, you know, stays on full-time power, or if the bottom one all of a sudden activates, then we'll know, you know, which side is which. So let's do that and determine that first. So I've got the marker lights on now. Check the bottom. And we've got nothing there. I check the top. We've got full-time power. I hope this makes sense. Let me go shut these back off. Okay, I got it back off. Now it's blinking again. So this is telling me that the blinking on these lights on the right side, the lights that are not supposed to be blinking, that signal or that voltage reference is coming from within the totally integrated power module and then being sent to the lights. So this alleviates any thought that this voltage is somehow tied into those wires over there. And what I mean by that is we can't have two wires, let's say hypothetically that these wires were, you know, pinched together on the voltage side of the marker lights and sending the signal back into the box, because if that was the case, our signal side here would be blinking, but it's not. So what I want to do is I'm going to stick this fuse back in there, because my thoughts are is this box shorted out internally? It may be, but looking at a diagram, like I said, I wish I could see the insides of this. One thing I want to check before we call it is I want to check the trailer fuse. Let me grab my test light, because that's the only other thing that I think is a plausible option, is it backfeeds through the trailer circuit. But the only thing that has me concerned about that is the fact that why isn't it turning on all the lights? Without knowing how this is wired up internally, now it's easier just to test it and find out whether it's right or wrong. So I kind of highlighted these and I was poking along through here. The integrated power module does not have a fuse for the actual trailer turn wires themselves, independent. It kind of feeds them all through a different setup here. It's actually kind of bizarre how they have this. But at any rate, I want to check the parking. See, fused ignition park lamp feed circuit. It says number 15. So that's number 15 right here. So 15 is this one. Look at that. Huh. So again, even our trailer parking system here, our trailer parking circuit, is also blinking. So again, let's check this one. Is this a cause or an effect? I think that's how it's stated. I think watch some of that other guy on YouTube. Paul Danner there, Scanner Danner. I think that's what he likes to use with his students when he's teaching. Is this blinking because the integrated power module is bad, or is it causing the blink, I guess, so to speak? So let's check both sides of this fuse circuit, see if this is coming from within the module here. So right now, left turn signal's on and the marker light's off. Okay, so this might answer the question. Might not be able to see this, but I'm in the bottom side of this fuse now, and it's blinking. So if that is the circuit side, then what that means is that is what's backfeeding. Let me look at this light. That light, the right-hand light, has quit blinking. The lower side of the trailer fuse here is blinking. So let me turn on, and this is the marker lights. This is not even associated with the turn signals. This is the trailer marking light power fused ignition parking lamp feed for the trailer circuit in the rear. Let me turn on the marker lights. Okay, the marker lights are on, so theoretically this top half of this should be hot, and it is. And the bottom half is blinking, all in one fuse. It's blinking on the bottom, it's hot on the top. That, my friends, sums this whole thing right up. Our problem is not within the integrated power module that I suspected it 90% chance probably was, only because these have an extremely high failure rate for wacko stuff like this. And right now I'm thankful that I tested it, because these go bad so often I almost could have just ordered it on an assumption. But that's what happens when you do that and you don't test it, and all of a sudden you've got to eat a $700 power module. At any rate, being that it appears to be backfeeding up the trailer parking lamp circuit, I say we just we go right for the throat on this thing. Let's go have a look at the trailer plug and see. I don't know, let's just go see. I don't even know what to see. Maybe there's something back there shorted out, I don't know. Okay, so I'm at the back. Looks pretty good in there. I just figured before I touch anything, we'll go ahead and just have a look in this area. Looks like we got an extra wire. Somebody added something in. Come over here, we got a bunch of crap there. Looks like we got some kind of connector hanging there. Oh, what else do we have that doesn't look right? Hot salt, I know that. So that's never good for electrical problems. Well, at any rate, I don't see any big green goblins hanging right down, looking us right in the face. So let's. I see I left the marker lights on. Let me shut those off, and we'll do a little bit more testing. All right, I shut the marker lights off, so hopefully we still have our same symptom when we do. Our right light is still blinking. I want to touch as little as possible in case there is something. I don't want to disturb it. Let's see, our ground is the lower left one. Let me get a gator clip so I can get in there a little bit easier. Okay, try to do this without touching anything else and blowing fuses. Okay, we got that hooked on the ground. This is our left turn over here. That's our right turn. In the top left is our marker lights. So we have the same problem going on back. Oops. Same thing going on back here. So let's, being that we're right here, let's check this little 4-prong plug. All right, so here's the 4-pronger. Oh, look at that. That's a mess. Big time. Oh, crap. I don't think this gets used. And just by, let's see, I don't have this plugged in. I just want to kind of, this thing stinks. This thing's right full of the old green pus. You get used to that here in New York. I don't know where everybody's from, but I tell you what, man, they do not lay off the salt here. As you can tell probably by most of the videos that I put out, this thing just stinks too. It smells like electrical. So let me just kind of dig around in here. Doesn't take much to short out a circuit. There, I got that all cleaned out. And let's have a look at this. Our diagnosis just ended. There's our left turning signal. And there is our right turning signal. So as you can see, we're all done. It's as simple as that. Could have been easily misdiagnosed as a, $500-600 totally integrated power module, or a little bit of crust in the trailer connector back feeding up that circuit. Pretty interesting. Why it doesn't flash the license plate lights here, I don't know. It has to be wired independently inside the integrated power module. That's all there is to it. If we had the wiring diagram for the inside of the power module, it probably could have led us here a heck of a lot faster, even though this was a relatively short diagnosis, without pulling lights or checking grounds or just going nuts. So I guess we have to conclude with this video. All I'm going to do is I'm going to call the customer first. I don't think he uses this 4-prong from the look of it. If he doesn't use it, I'm just going to cut it off and heat shrink the ends of the wires, and we'll call it a day. So that's a pretty easy fix. So I guess I would conclude with definitely do some premeditated thought planning before you start diving in and just stabbing wires and going nuts. It definitely helps if you have access to a wiring diagram, or you can just put some theoretical theory. I don't even know. Put some apply what you know about electricity and how it flows, and what can possibly be the problem, and get as many clues as you can, and make a rational decision. So I guess we'll leave it at that. I hope this wasn't a whole lot of babbling. I would like to hear your thoughts on what you thought about the video. I, as a general rule, don't do live diagnostics, type stuff, because I think that can make a video run pretty long, and frankly, I don't know if anybody really wants to watch me think or look at a diagram and talk out loud. And anyhow, I want your thoughts on it. It's been a pleasure. I really enjoyed working on this and having you come along and see it. So I guess we'll end right here, and just remember, nobody's special, and if I can do it, you can do it. So thanks for watching.